look, if we want to be unique and special, we're either going to get tougher and negate the physical play that people are using on us, or we're just going to be another team out there trying to win as many as we can.
That's what this team does. We just try to win as many as we can. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. Finally, everybody's in a good mood here. We have wins this weekend. We're going to be talking about it on the show. Darryl Bird's got things covered on the Kentucky side.
And talking about Louisville, does DePaul really count as a win?
Hey, after getting beat by Providence, yes.
Okay, that's the bad thing. I feel bad for the Red Sox because you get blown out by Providence and you go out and you beat DePaul. So what? You still don't know if you're any good. You got to go play somebody else first.
All right, Howie Lindsey's here with a rebuttal about Planet Blue.
You know, it's interesting. I feel like, and I don't know if you all feel like this, but Kentucky's kind of flirting with laying an egg. I mean, they've been kind of flirting with it first half, second half. They've been pulling through. Louisville is doing that right up until the Notre Dame and Providence game. So that may come back to bite them.
I think they've laid some eggs. They just managed to win, which is some of the topics we're going to hit right now in our lightning round. The lightning round on the Red and Blue Review brought to you by Kentucky Corner. There's a Kentucky Corner on your corner. You see it right there, Kentucky Corner online. Also at the Florence Mall and the Ashland Town Mall. Well, who's hot for the University of Kentucky is MKG Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. He is not the best player on the team, but Cal says he's why this team is winning.
Here's what problem when you're coaching. There are some guys that want the ball that you don't want the ball. There are some guys that don't want the ball, okay, and you want them to have the ball. And then there are guys, you want it and they want it, and that's the ones that go make plays. Pretty simple. And this kid was the whole game, get me the ball. And what they're saying about him is he's a winning player. And every coach wants to coach a winning player. Guys on our team may shoot it better. There may be other guys that dribble it better. There may be guys that bounce it better. But winning basketball games happens because of guys like this.
And Cal didn't have to give a halftime speech here at the game in Tennessee because they didn't play well in the first half. Michael Gilchrist was furious. Anthony Davis was relating the story of how angry he was because they just did not play the way they're capable of playing. And if you notice, when the score was tied 54-54 going down the stretch, every key basket, rebound, free throw, offensive rebound, defensive rebound to seal the game was Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and that's after he slipped on water, and I thought for sure it tore his hamstring, but he was angry he had to come out because the trainer came on the floor. So he had to leave the game. I think it was 42 seconds total, and he was back out on the floor and hit the three-pointer and got the key rebound after that.
Now, Darryl, you were in Knoxville. Do you agree with Howie's assessment that these guys are flirting with egg laying?
Yeah, they're getting close. The problem is, and Calipari, you tend to dismiss it. Calipari says, we're everybody's Super Bowl. You hear that 8 million times, and you kind of wax over. Tennessee was on fire to win this game. Auburn was on fire. They bring out the best. Auburn was a sellout. Tennessee was a sellout for the first time. They bring out the best. Tennessee's pretty good. They're better than people think, too. They may make the tournament.
That's kind of the atmosphere that helps you as you get through March. What's hot for the University of Louisville is Russ Smith. Remember that echo from back at the Kentucky game a few weeks ago. Russ took more shots in a single game than any player since Taquan Dean did it back in 2006. Russ' philosophy is pretty simple. If he's open, shoot it.
The less organized the game, the better he is.
I mean, if you're open, you can't draw up a better play than getting open. So, I mean, and no matter how much you miss, you just got to shoot it. You're open. So, I mean, if you're open, I just have to fire you.
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, you can't drop a better. He's not open right there, Russ. You're not open.
But shoot it anyway.
But shoot it anyway. Any other player who missed their 7 3-point shots probably would have stopped shooting and maybe thought about passing the ball. Not Russ Smith.
Yeah.
He's going to keep shooting. Shot 22 times. Actually hit 10 of them, which is not bad at all. When Taquan Dean shot 23, he only hit 7. So if Russ is going to hit 10 out of 22, let him take 22 shots.
Thank goodness somebody's got to be putting in the basket. Who's not hot for the University of Kentucky is Deron Lamb, who has lost his starting spot, and if he wants it back, he better start fighting back.
He's doing okay. I mean, he needs to be better. Needs to be better. I mean, you got a scoring guard that there's no one in this league will say leave him alone. So when he's out there, they got to play him, which opens up the court for everybody else. I have a lot of confidence in him in scoring the ball. He's not doing it right now. I'm bringing him off the bench just to make him fight for the spot. Fight. You want to start? Fight. Fight for the spot. You want, but I have a lot of confidence in him. I mean, he's still our leading scorer. What did he do today?
He's on the 7 from the field. 4 points.
Yeah, it's not a good day for him.
Hilarious. He's still our leading scorer. Oh, wait, that's not a good day.
Oh, he stuck it up. I didn't know it was that
absolutely hilarious.
What was he watching there?
Looking at the old boxer, he is struggling a little bit, and fortunately for UK, it's early, so he'll have a time to fight through this. All players go through this little periods where they don't play as well, they don't fight as hard as they need to, and they just need to work their way through it. He'll come out and he'll have a game where he gets 15, 16, 17 points, and this will all be forgotten. But he is struggling a bit. Terrence Jones took a turn a few weeks ago. Darius seems to be on and off, and you just got to fight through it, and eventually you'll get there.
Weston Hutt for the University of Louisville, is Gorky's neck. Patino shows up ready for the DePaul game. Gorky shows up in a neck brace. How in the world did that happen? Anyway, Gorky went ahead and played and managed to throw in a double-double, 13 and 14.
So I said, Gorky, what's with the neck brace? He said, I can't move my neck, and Fred told me to wear it. I said, are you playing? He says, no. And now we're going to start Zach. I said, okay, Zach, you're going to be able to do it. And not taking anything away from Zach, you got to really flash and pass the basketball. And Gorky, the doctors did something to him. I don't know what they did, about an hour or so before the game, and he was able to play, at least move his neck. And I think just use some illegal drugs. No.
I don't know what they did either, because I got there at about an hour and a half before the game. Gorky's in a neck brace. I start writing the story. Gorky Jang out with a neck injury, the latest injury to Louisville. Started listing out all the injuries. And then, maybe 45 minutes before the game, we hear, oh, Gorky's playing. Not only is he playing, he's starting, and he played like 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I mean, and has a double-double.
There's no secret. Haven't y'all seen Karate Kid?
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi did his little hand thing.
He warmed it up.
Necks, and out he came.
Yeah. He warmed it up on him and healed him. I don't know what the healing powers were, but it was great.
The buzz at Kentucky is when the tough gets going, Kentucky backs up. What's happened really so far this season, with the exception of Indiana, some of these teams are really taking it to Kentucky. Kentucky's bent to their will a lot of times, but the Cats have had enough talent to still win.
They want to win. They have a will. This team has a good, solid will to win. The issue is when it gets rough and the other team plays that way, we're not negating it right now. We're playing right into their hands, and we're letting them control tempo and control rebounds and second shots and push us around and set screens. And we gotta, before this ends, if we want to be special, we got to be able, when a team comes out and does it, you all watch and say that has no effect on that team anymore. We're not there.
It's a young team, so they have still got to figure out how to be the aggressor from the beginning and to carry it for 40 minutes. The problem is, you walk into a Tennessee, they are amped, they are coming after you as soon as this game starts. You're on the defensive. You're kind of back on your heels, hanging on, and you hung on. It held on a little too long for comfort for a lot of UK fans, but in the end, they did pull it out. Once they figured out how to get physical right back and how to take the fight to Tennessee, they went ahead and pulled away and got the win. But teams are coming at them out of the gate, and they've got to learn to appreciate that, especially on the road.
The buzz in last week's show about Louisville was, what in the world is wrong with Peyton Siva? Well, the question came this week, and Peyton says it's a bum ankle.
It's a lot better because, it's still hard to jump off 1 foot, but, just to feel that, I could be able to jump off 2 and, get up like that, it's really helping out a lot, just confidence-wise and just everything else-wise. And it's definitely a couple, even last week, it probably been a layup and, just to feel that, that comfort level of, my ankle getting stronger and stronger. It's just really helping out a lot.
It was about a week and a half ago when I told our viewers here that it's a bad ankle. Even though Peyton Siva was not talking about it a whole lot, he's got a bad ankle. I see him coming out of the locker room with ice on it every single game. This was the first game back without an actual ankle brace on. He had different shoes on. He had a different shirt on. Like, it was a whole different Peyton Siva. And he's right. A week ago, that would have been a layup, and now it's a dunk. And so you're just starting to see better glimpses of what Peyton Siva should be.
So it was that ankle that caused him to fly into the kid at Providence and foul him and fell out?
I think that was bad attitude.
Okay.
I think that's what that came down to.
Just checking which end of the problem was on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on, shall we? Hey, guys, let me get your take on this. It comes from our Red and Blue Facebook page. Brian Sanders has this. He says, back in the summer, Coach Cal said UK was the only relevant team in the state. Hold on, Howie. You'll get your chance.
Oh, gosh.
Well, we know he's the best coach in America, but he could also be a prophet.
I know a lot of people in Murray, Kentucky who would argue that point right now.
Yeah.
Murray State's sitting down there at 18 and
Yeah,
0.
they're
They're
doing
fairly
pretty good.
relevant on that
Yeah.
that into the Central Time Zone, that's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. That's absolutely ridiculous. We know it's ridiculous. Louisville just last year was the third best team, the best conference in America. Would you say that SEC football, if Arkansas isn't relevant? No, it's ridiculous. Stop spouting what John Calipari says just for talking points.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you to do something for us. Please go to SOKY.org and get these guys drenched. We've got a little thing going for Special Olympics of Kentucky. If you go to SOKY.org and click on that red and blue polar plunge, Daryl and Howie are going to be in Lexington here in just a few weeks. Howie's going into enemy territory to take the plunge for Special Olympics. God bless you.
Oh, it's going to be cold.
Yep.
I know it is.
They'll warm you up pretty fast over there when they see you coming out of that water with that red on. We come back. Rick's going to explain that loss to Providence through North Carolina's loss to Florida State.
I don't get it either. We'll listen to it.
We'll figure that out after Daryl tells us about the Cat's Paws edition this week.
I do appreciate it, sir. How about Cats sweep the orange? This hasn't happened in 26 years. Football, women's basketball, men's basketball all beat Tennessee in the same season, and we know because of the football losing streak, it's been 25 years since that happened. Very nice win by the women's team on Thursday night, followed by the men's team going into Knoxville and pulling out a 3-point win. 800-641-3302. We'll get 35 issues a year to you right to your doorstep.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
When you need a truck, Bachman Chevrolet is your truck headquarters. I'm Teresa Bachman. Even during our construction, we have more trucks than any other dealer. Silverado, Colorado, Tahoe, or Suburban, Bachman is your #1 Chevrolet truck dealer. Nobody beats Bachman's price or selection on any Chevrolet, including Traverse and Equinox. Chevrolet has what you need, and Bachman Chevrolet has what you want. Bachman makes the difference.
Kentucky Corner is giving UK fans a new cheer this season.
Pink!
Think Power Pink when you dress Big Blue this season. Kentucky Corner is the only place to find hot new colors and styles the Big Blue Nation craves.
Polka dot!
Kentucky Corner is in Louisville, Lexington, Ashland, Florence, E-Town, Clarksville, Paducah, and with Kentucky Corner Online, there's a Kentucky Corner on your corner.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
Our offense was Russ Smith in the middle of a playground in Queens. That was our offense.
It's true.
Go Cards. Yeah. Whatever it takes.
Get out there, Russ.
Hey, we're going to be talking about young guys and old guys.
Hey. Old guys.
On our Game Time storyline.
Wow.
The Darrell and Gupper version of this comes from the Kentucky side of things, where Cal says the old guys, the veterans, have really got to step up their game for the Cats.
But we need the other guys, they got to step up and ball. I mean, for us to win on the road with Darius and Deron going 2 for 11 and literally throwing balls at the rim, thinking they were going to get hit. 2 for 11. And Terrence showed signs, but again, they roughed him up, and we still win. Think about that. I think part of it is when you start relying on Michael and Anthony to go get every ball, you think, well, then I don't really have to go in there. You can't play that way. I'd rather them bump heads and knock it out of bounds against us than having a guy half speed go after it and their guy push us out of the way and grab the ball.
I may have to listen to that soundbite again and have my hearing aid turned up to be able to handle it. Yeah. It is interesting, the young guys are playing better than the old guys as a rule. Fortunately for UK, the old guys, Miller, Lamb, and Jones, haven't all fallen apart at the same time. They've spread it out a little bit, but it's exactly opposite. It should be the young ones who are struggling to come along, and instead they're leading these older guys, and they got to get it figured out, because they're going to need to be the ones who are leading the way on the road. They need to be the ones who lead you into March, because they've been there before.
Dale, good time for you to take your nap.
Thank you.
I'll wake you back up when we're ready to go again. After Louisville knocked off DePaul, Rick Pitino was still asked about that blowout loss they had to Providence, and somehow he brought North Carolina losing to Florida State in the explanation.
What did Carolina lose by today? Anybody know? 30-something. They'll probably pack the season in now. What do you think, Carolina any good? It's a game, guys. We lost by 33, and we were the number one seeds. We didn't play well at all. Nobody did. They played great. Providence made shots that we watched every film they played. They never shot the ball like that, and we played terrible. So you give them credit and you move on. There's no questions. It's one game. It's one game. The effort has been phenomenal the whole season. The execution hasn't.
We'll file that explanation under the file of Misery Loves Company. As soon as that North Carolina score popped up, everybody on press row said, this is going to come up in the post-game press conference, because you have another, fairly highly ranked team losing to an unranked team by 30 points. And to his credit, though, life does go on after those games. There is life after that. Certainly, Louisville had an excellent season, winning Big East championship after they lost to Notre Dame way back when. The question is whether this Louisville team can do that. That's a bigger question.
I don't remember Rick's teams getting blown like that when he was at Kentucky, though. It seems like that's kind of a relatively new thing.
The only time they were down by 31 was at LSU, and they came back and won.
Came back all the way and won. I think part of it is, over the years at Louisville, they've usually had one just absolute clunker. I'm thinking like Drexel and East Carolina and TCU, and they've just had some really bad games, and it's usually one. And it's usually somewhere between December and January. That's what happened this year.
Cal was talking about the old players not stepping up, and Kentucky would be losing, except for the young guys are carrying all the older guys' weight.
Michael Gilchrist and what he did, I bet you he didn't know that he had missed a few shots before he shot the three. All he knew was that ball was going down. The thing that we had is our young players had a will to win. I mean, the three he makes, the shot that Anthony makes, and the plays that Marcus Teague made. See, Marcus Teague guarded. That's the first game he's guarded. He knew that kid was averaging 20 a game the last four games. And so he went out and said, you know what? I'm going to guard my man, and I'm going to make this tough on him.
I go back to two things on Calipari, and both of them were from preseason and probably previous seasons, truth be told. He said, there's no such thing in my program as my turn. If you're a senior, so what? If you get outplayed, you get outplayed. There is no guarantee that you get the playing time because you're older. The other thing being that he talked about Michael Gilchrist, that he was going to lead the practices, he was going to be the warrior, and everybody else was going to have to keep up or he was going to pass you by. And him and Darius Miller play the same position for the most part, and he blew right by Darius, and he's going to drag this team, Anthony Davis, on path to break the block shot record within the next game or so. Yep. And so those guys are leading. Deal with it. It's the way it's going to be.
Well, Rick has been criticized this season for a couple of things that all point back to the same thing, apparently. When you talk about the injuries to start the season, then the loss to Providence, maybe he's working the guys too hard. They don't have anything left, either enough energy or injury-free enough to play the game. And Rick got a little frustrated with that kind of criticism this past week.
What upset me so much is the fact that I've been so disappointed this year and last year that we couldn't practice. So when I heard that stuff, it really got to. Normally, I mean, Rick will knock me all the time, you'll knock me all the time. That doesn't bother me. Nobody tells me. But it really bothered me because the one thing I missed more than anything else was not having any ability to practice. Yesterday we went for 35 minutes. Never broke a sweat. We're in terrible shape. And it's been that way for a year and a half now. So when I hear that, it turns my stomach, and you know, normally nothing like that bothers me, but this really did bother me because there was a time where I would have said my team's really, really worked. but it hasn't been the last year and a half. And not their fault. They're willing to work. It's just there's sometimes where we have 9 guys in practice.
You ask Louisville fans and you talk to Louisville fans like I do all day, every day, and the number one topic where I hear all the time is, does Rick work them too hard? Number one topic. I mean, and the Courier, wrote a story about it this past week, got quotes from people, Denny Crum included, and that's what Rick was responding to. In his press conference, he really fumed about it. I mean, he was like, I can't believe you would write this, especially without giving me a chance to talk about it. I think he's right in the point that over the last year and a half, they really haven't practiced too hard. All these injuries that have happened, they really haven't practiced all that hard because they don't have enough players. Now,
But we don't know that because you're not in practice.
Well, I have been twice this year.
Okay.
So, I don't know what happens every practice, certainly, but the practice I've been to, it looked like a normal basketball practice. I mean, it didn't look like he was beating people or clubbing people over the head with anything, but the question still comes back to, why are all these injuries happening?
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer.
When we come back, Cal will explain his team's narrow win over Tennessee by looking to Alabama's blowout win over LSU as our show of analogies continues. Howie will tell us about CardinalSports.com.
You got it. The best place to go for game coverage, for all your recruiting news, that kind of thing, CardinalSports.com. We've got all the information about the DePaul game. We've got post-game videos. We've got in-game videos. We've got interviews with all the players and Rick Pitino. Good stuff. Great message board stuff. Most of the time. There's some absolute wackos on there, but it's always fun to read.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Edge or Explorer. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
Kentucky Corner is giving UK fans a new cheer this season.
Pink!
Think Power Pink when you dress Big Blue this season. Kentucky Corner is the only place to find hot new colors and styles the Big Blue Nation craves.
Polka dot!
Kentucky Corner is in Louisville, Lexington, Ashland, Florence, E-Town, Clarksville, Paducah, and with Kentucky Corner Online, there's a Kentucky Corner on your corner.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, The Falls Golf Resort, The Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf tour card now.
The difference maker for Kentucky basketball is Alabama football.
Absolutely.
Cal says his Cats need to play like the Crimson Tide.
I hit in one of the timeouts again. We talked about Alabama football again. I said, look, they executed. The other team was going wild, talking junk, hitting, shouldering, and Alabama focused on my job.
I love the analogy. He's done that 3 times this year. I don't know what the fascination is of football this year, but if you're in a game where you're favored, like Kentucky is most games, and the other team's going to come out fast, they're going to get up, they're going to be celebrating, be the professional, stay calm, stay the course. You've got 40 minutes. You'll eventually prevail in the end. Just keep your head, keep doing your job, as he said. Made the reference to LSU Arkansas earlier in the year when Arkansas got ahead 14-0, and Cal said, well, they didn't panic. They just came back and won. Another analogy, when UK football beat Tennessee, he said, because Matt Rourke had to play quarter, he said, there's going to be injuries on basketball too. Next guy up. Do your job and you'll win the game.
For the University of Louisville, one of the difference makers they need and used was a short memory. We're all still talking about the loss to Providence, but Rick says he learned when he was an assistant in the NBA that you got to move on after wins and losses.
It was either the second or third game. I got on the bus and I was distraught. Back then they only had one assistant, and I just kept pouting. And he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, I can't believe that we lost it. And he said to me, "Is this going to go on for 81 more games?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We got 81 more to play. Get over it, and let's go." And that was a valuable lesson very early in the season.
It's more difficult, of course, in college because you got a third of the games, that kind of thing, and it is also more difficult in the state of Kentucky, where every game is under a microscope and analyzed for every which way. But it is probably healthy for a basketball team to realize it's just a game. We move on to the next one, and I think the players realize this better than anybody. I mean, you talk to those guys the next day after a loss. Some of them are still like aching with it. Peyton Siva's that kind of competitor where he just aches with it. Other guys are like, what's on PlayStation? They're just done with it.
Well, one of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about is I'm kind of glad Alabama won a national championship, because in a lot of ways, Darryl, Alabama in football and Kentucky, Kentucky in basketball, there's a lot of similarities.
They're identical. The sports are different. That's the only thing that changes. There's no pro team, or they live and die of Alabama football. They do the same with basketball in the state.
Yeah, and how you said there's other similarities?
They both cheat like crazy.
Steady.
We'll see you back. Well, 2 of us will next week on the Red and Blue Review.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, the Falls Golf Resort, the Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your